Hey guys, in this video I'm going to discuss something that I think a lot of people wonder when coming to Vietnam. Is Vietnam safe? When I first told my family I was moving to Vietnam, a lot of them were like, be careful over there. And all of my relatives are Vietnamese themselves. However, I've lived in Vietnam for 6 months now, and I've never once felt truly physically in danger, except for maybe on the back of a motorbike taxi once or twice. But once you get used to it and you're desensitized to the driving here, it's fine. And overall, I would say Vietnam is generally pretty safe. Scams and theft, on the other hand, I've noticed a little bit more than other countries I've lived in. Not that I've had any experience with it myself, knock on wood, but I've had friends, family, and even my boyfriend Jake who were scammed or had something stolen from them. But if you're smart and you play it safe and you're mindful of your surroundings, hopefully nothing like this would ever happen to you. So right now, I'm going to go over some of the things to look out for when you're traveling around or just living in Vietnam. But before I start, I want to point out that some of the things I talk about today are not only specific to Vietnam. You can get scammed or robbed in any country if you're not smart about it. So I'm not trying to specifically single out Vietnam, but if you are in Vietnam, these are some of the things that you might encounter if you are unlucky. Fake taxis are really common here, and they can look very similar to reputable taxi companies. If you get into a fake taxi, the meter could be rigged and it could rapidly go up and you end up having to pay an insane amount. Meters are charged by the distance, so if you're sitting still in traffic and you see that meter slowly go up, it's rigged. The easiest way to avoid this is to know what the reputable taxi companies look like in your area and how to spot fake ones. The two main taxi companies in Saigon are Vinasun and My Linh, and their logos look like this. However, fake taxi logos can look very, very similar. If you see something that says Vinasun, don't get in it. There are other ways to spot fake taxis, and I found a really good article on it that I will link down below if you guys want to check that out. I don't know what the big taxi companies are in other areas of Vietnam, but just make sure to do a little bit of research before you get in a taxi. Even if you are in a real taxi, there are some taxi drivers that will just refuse to turn the meter on at all and then tell them that you owe them a crazy amount afterwards. So make sure to demand that they turn the meter on, or remind them if they forget to turn on the meter while you're driving. If you don't have any small bills on you, some taxi drivers might claim they don't have change when they try to pay you, just so they can get a little bit of the extra money, which might be true sometimes. They don't have change. That happens pretty commonly. But if you want to try to avoid this, just make sure to bring some small bills with you when riding in a taxi. A good taxi riding practice would be to take a photo of the taxi driver's identification card that is usually displayed on the dashboard right when you get in. That way, if something happens or if he does something wrong, you can report him. Or if you forget something inside the taxi, you might have a chance of getting it back. However, my best piece of advice is to just avoid taxis altogether and use a transportation app like Uber or Grab. These apps are great because you don't have to use cash at all. You know what the price is right up front before you even get into the car, and you have the driver's information automatically saved onto the app. I mentioned these apps in my best apps for living in Vietnam video, which I will link down below in case you guys haven't seen it. If you're not familiar with the money here yet, it could be kind of confusing. A 500,000 might look like a 50,000, and a 20,000 might look like a 200,000. So when paying for things, make sure to be really careful and really look at the money when you hand them to people. Most of the time, people will let you know if you accidentally paid them too much and help you out. But sometimes, if you're unlucky, you might get someone trying to scam you. They can be pretty quick with their hands and try to switch the bills out when you're not looking, then tell you that you didn't pay them enough when you actually gave them 200,000. They say you only gave them 20,000 or something like that. Another thing that could happen is they just don't give you the right amount of change back. Just make sure to always count your change and pay attention to the money. This one Vietnam is obviously more common for people traveling around the country. When traveling around, you might meet tour guides in the form of a cyclist most of the time, but it doesn't always have to be a cyclist. My boyfriend Jake was approached by a person on a motorbike who just rode up next to them. These people go around offering free tours, claiming that they want to just practice their English or make a friend. However, towards the end of the ride, they might demand money or guilt trip you into giving them money. And if you don't pay them, they could get kind of rude and mean and might even drop you off at a random location, refuse to bring you back. I've always avoided taking a tour like this just because I prefer to go around myself. However, tour guides can be really helpful and interesting. If it's something you really want to do, just make sure to be prepared to pay and negotiate a price beforehand. Some smaller restaurants and food stalls you might eat at sometimes won't have their prices displayed anywhere for their food items, so you might sit down and order what you thought was a really cheap meal, but then get the bill and it's weirdly high. It's okay to eat at places that don't have their prices displayed as long as you ask for the price of the food beforehand. Also, sometimes when you eat, you get these little wet wipes or water bottles that you think is free because they set it on the table for you to use, but they actually charge you for those things. It's not much, it's only like a few thousand here or there, so it's not a big deal. It's just something to know when you look at your bill and you notice it's not the exact amount you thought it was. Theft is unfortunately pretty common around here, especially if you have your valuable items visible when you're walking around the city. There are two types of theft. There is snatch and run theft, which is very quick, and there's also sneaky theft, which can also be very quick, but you might not notice it right away. Snatch and run theft is when the thief grabs something off you very quickly and forcefully and then runs or drives away. It could be the phone out of your hand, the purse or backpack off your shoulder, and even the necklace off your neck. They could either rip it off you or cut it off you very quickly. Oftentimes, the thieves will work in groups of two on a motorbike, one person to grab the item and one person to drive away. This could happen anywhere at any time. You could be walking home alone, or you could be walking to a restaurant with a group of friends. You could even be on your motorbike on your way to work. It can happen in a blink of an eye, and once your item is gone, you most likely will never see it again. Jake got his phone stolen this way and was able to track it, but even if you are able to track it, most people live in tall apartment buildings in the city, and the GPS isn't accurate enough to specifically pinpoint exactly where the item is located. The best way to avoid getting something stolen this way is to just keep some of your valuables hidden away, make sure it's not out in the open, you're not holding it out into the street, because that is definitely the worst way to get it stolen. Make sure to keep your bag very close to you, have a good grip on it, always be aware of your surroundings, and just never let your guard down. The other type of theft is sneaky theft, and this is when people rob you a little bit more discreetly. So this could be taking your phone out of the back of your pocket. This could be secretly cutting your bag and taking your wallet or camera out. This could be taking your stuff while you're sleeping on a sleeper bus. They sometimes will work in teams where one will distract you while they take your stuff. So again, just try to be mindful of your surroundings. Make sure to always know where your items are at all times. If you're on a sleeper bus, sleep with your arm around your backpack and make sure to have your phone put away. I'm super paranoid about losing my phone, so I will always check my purse every now and then to make sure that my phone is there, which is kind of annoying, but it gives me peace of mind. Don't be too paranoid that you don't enjoy your time here though. That's all I have for you guys today. I know I didn't cover everything. There's always some sort of stupid little scam being created. So if you've been scammed before yourself or you have any other tips, feel free to share it in the comments down below so other people can see and we can all help each other out. But overall, like I said before, Vietnam is generally pretty safe. Just make sure to be smart careful, and keep some of my tips in mind, you shouldn't have to worry too much while you're here. Vietnam is a beautiful country with so much to see, and I just want to make sure that your experience here is the best possible. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have a question, feel free to leave a comment down below. If you're not subscribed already, please make sure to subscribe. I make videos about my life living here in Vietnam, as well as videos of my travels around the world. Bye guys!